Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Vrinda Devi. Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay. Hare Krishna. So today we are commemorating the disappearance day of Shaimananda Prabhu. And Shaimananda, we'll be talking about him. So first we'll chant the prayers to the departed Vaishnavas, which is actually on the last page of the songbook. Jai Hanilo Prematanta Korana prachur. Jai Anilo Premadanda Koruna Prachur. Henu Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Kamora Svarupa Kaha Sanatan. Kaha Dasuragunatha Patita Pavan. Kamora Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaliras Rabata Yuga Kaha Kaliras Eka Kalakota Gela Gora Nataras Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pabo Ranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pabo Sesaba Sangira Sange Ye Coelho Vilas Ga Gira Kange Ye Coelho Vilas Se Sangan Napaya Kande Naru Chamoda As Jayanila Prema Danda Kona Prachur Nila Prema Danda Koruna Rajo. Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya also Tata Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charana the Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Friends, say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagadada Swami Ki Jai Munamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravali Pacharni, Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarni. So I'm going to read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love, and it was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivas, Acharya God? Where am I, Sarup, Damodar, and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where am I, Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna's Kavi Raj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So today we are commemorating, again, the disappearance day of Shaimananda. And this morning I was actually Omaganath Timaranda Shah. Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmelitam Yena Tasmai Shigurveda Maha. So this morning I was listening to a class given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, where he actually stressed the point spoken by Lord Shiva in the Devi Purana, Aradhanam Sarvesham, Vishnu Aradhanam Param, Tasmat Parataram Devi, Tvadiyanam Samachranam. He said, basically, the best type of worship, this Lord Shiva speaking, is worship of Vishnu, but even better than that is worship of Vishnu's devotees. And Prabhupada actually talked about not only worship, he was talking about love. And Prabhupada even gave the example, love me, love my dog. So devotee is basically Krishna's dog. And Prabhupada made many interesting points in this class. He said, don't try to see Krishna. You know, again and again we hear this. He said, don't try to see Krishna. Have Krishna try to see you. Prabhupada actually said it's very easy to see Krishna in this class. It's very interesting. And I was thinking, easy? Well, it's easy for you, not for me. But anyway. But then I was thinking we have the deities here. You know, it's easy to see Krishna, pictures of Krishna. And so, but to have Krishna see you and be pleased with you is more difficult, isn't it? I mean, everybody, I want to see Krishna, I want to see Radha and Krishna. But actually, we want Krishna to see how we're serving and be pleased with us. Anyway, so therefore, as introduction to this, it's important to glorify the Vaishnavas. And so on these days, we have the class on a particular Vaishnava who disappeared or appeared. So very, very important, and Krishna is very pleased. This is also Bhagavad Gita. Is the Bhagavat means Krishna's devotee, and also what the Srimad Bhagavatam. So on that happy note, we'll talk about Shaimananda. Of course, little disciplic history here. Okay. So first of all, there was a very nice devotee named Gauri Das Pandit, a great pure devotee, associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who in Krishna Leela is Subal. That's, we know from the Gaura Ganadeshtipika. And he had the original deities of Sri Sri Gaurnatai. Original deities means that Gaurnatai posed for him because he wouldn't let them go. They came to his house and he said, "You're not leaving." They said, "Okay, let's make a deal. You take a picture or whatever." And you make deities. I mean, obviously, they didn't just stand there like that. But obviously, there was some way that devotees could see them, picture them in his mind, make a sketch, and then make the deities. So the deities were made, and he was very happy taking care of his deities. And he had a disciple, Hridaya Ananda, not our devotee here in ISKCON. It's not that old. So he had a disciple, and he told his disciple, take care of the deities. I have to go somewhere and preach. So the disciple was taking care of the deities, and it came time for a festival. And that festival was Gaur Purnima. That means the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his guru wasn't back. He said, "Gurudev, what am I going to do? We haven't sent out the mailers yet. Letters, invitations." And so he sent them out. Let everybody come. We're going to have a festival for Sri Sri Gaurnatai, the original Sri Sri Gaurnatai deities. Guru comes back, little agitated, or pretty agitated. And he says, basically, how can you conduct a festival, invite people, you didn't have my permission? Sounds like bureaucracy, doesn't it? Where you don't empower people. The secret to spreading Krishna consciousness is to empower people. Someone does a little something without permission. Of course, not building a new temple without permission. That's a different thing. But now in ISKCON, we have so much bureaucracy. You got to get permission before you sneeze. I was just speaking to one lady last night. She's complained about bureaucracy and some other yatra. Anyway, where they're just old people, and she wants to move in. And she says, well, they're just old people won't let me move in. So anyway, so apart from that, he got very angry at his disciple. And he said, "Get out of here. Hit the road." Not Maharaj. And I don't want to see you anymore. And so he hit the road. But because he was so devoted to the deities hit the road too. And so the Guru Maharaj went, Gauri Das Pandit, went to open up the altar, time for Govinda prayers. Ding. And nobody was on the altar. And so, oh my God. And then he understood, the deities left with my disciple. So he runs after the disciple. They're on the bank of the Ganges holding Gaur Purnima festival. And then Lord Chaitanya gets so, let's say, fearful of his devotee, Gauridas Pandit, that he jumps into the heart of Hridayananda. And therefore, Gauridas understands my disciples pretty advanced, and he changes his name to Hridaya Chaitanya. So that's the beginning of the story. So Hridaya Chaitanya, of course, is the guru of Shaimananda. So here's the story of Shaimananda. Once upon a time, Shaimananda was very, very young, and actually he was born into a pretty unfortunate family in the sense that all their children died before he survived. So therefore they called him Dukhi, which means unhappy. Even though they were happy, he was born somehow or other. And so he had all the signs, as these great devotees do, of a Maha Purusha. That means arms going down to the knees when you're standing. Don't try that. Most of our arms just barely go down to our waist when we're standing. And lotus eyes and all sorts of different ratios of different parts of the body. So, anyway, when he was real young, he said to his father that actually I want to take initiation from Hridaya Chaitanya. And his father eventually gave him permission, and he took initiation from Hridaya Chaitanya, who was named Shaimananda instead of Dukhi. And also called, he was called Dukhi Krishnadas. Not that he was called Shaimananda at that time. The guru added the name Krishnadas, Dukhi Krishnadas, somehow or other, unhappy servant of Krishna because he's feeling separation from Krishna. In any case, his guru, Hridaya Chaitanya, sent him to Vrindavan to study with Srila Jiva Goswami. And so he was studying along with Narottama Das Thakur and Srinivas Acharya. They're second generation disciplic descendants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, the first generation disciplic descendants, they were the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So he was studying, and he was also given seva. You know, part of learning things in Krishna consciousness is not simply the academic part, but you have the practical part. You know, I experience that now there's this college called GBC College, and they study very nicely. They're nice, planning to become GBCs or whatever, leaders. And then they graduate, and you put them in the field. What's happening here? And basically, pretty much what they learn, well, a lot of stuff they learn is completely irrelevant to the real world. As they say in academia, that if you actually know a subject matter, you wouldn't be teaching it. What that means is if you actually knew business, you wouldn't be teaching business, right? Because if you actually knew business, you wouldn't be making $50,000 a year teaching business. You'd be doing business making several $1 billion, like our friend Elon Musk. Anyway, so he was given practical service, and that service was cleansing the Kunja Kunj. Somebody's called the Kalpa Kunj. And this is a Kunj forest where Radha and Krishna had many, many pastimes. And of course, in Kali Yuga, they don't appear visually anymore. They're prakrita pastimes. Although many people make this propaganda when you go to Vrindavan, that if you go to Seva Kunj at night, Radha and Krishna dancing, so even the monkeys go away. You know, you hear this all the time. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it clear in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Radha and Krishna don't appear in that manifest way in this age of Kali, except to great pure devotees. Like sometimes we have that story of Raghunath Das Goswami, who had Krishna protecting him from the tiger, and Radharani protecting him from the sun. So, getting back to the story, So he was cleansing the kunj, and one day Radharani was dancing. This is a very unique story. And she, I guess at night when he wasn't cleansing, and she left her ankle belt. It became manifest somehow or other. It's called the nupara under one of the trees. Next morning, when he was cleaning the kunja, he found this glowing ankle bell, fell unconscious, touched it to his neck. Some of the acharyas or commentaries say he tied it to his neck, but in any case, he buried it. And with the instrument that he used to bury this nupara, the shovel part, the part that touched the nupara, turned gold. And so pretty soon after that, Radharani discovered it was gone, and she sent her friend Lalita to get it. And Lalita started talking in disguise to Dukhi Krishnadas, and he didn't want to give it to her, but then he realized that she was Lalita Devi. And he actually said to her, if you are Lalita Devi, then you should show me who you are. You should manifest yourself. And she said, you won't be able to see. And he said, by your mercy, I should be able to see. And so Lita shows the form, and in a secluded place, he touched her feet, put his head on her feet, and he requested a boon from her. I want to be your servant and serve Radha and Krishna eternally. And Lita Devi said, all right, here's a mantra which you can chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you chant this mantra, you'll be able to see their lordships at any time and enter into the pastimes. That's the Hare Krishna mantra. So, I'm not sure it was the exact same mantra, but the Hare Krishna mantra is the Maha Mantra. If we chant purely, we can actually experience the same thing, enter into Krishna's pastimes. But the reason we're not seeing, experiencing, entering is because we're not chanting with purity. So, anyway, they dug up the ankle bell, and of course the spade was golden. That is the little shovel tip. And Lalita touched Shaimananda's head, and then appeared magically Tilak with a dot in the middle. And she gave him the name Shaimananda. And she told him, don't tell anyone. Keep it a secret, but you can tell Jiva Goswami. So he cried naturally in such a situation. You're going to cry, fainted, rolled on the ground, and returned to Jiva Goswami. And Jiva looked at him. What did you put on your body? You know, there's this thing called Gorachana, which actually is like golden. And his body was golden. Prabhupada's body was also golden. It was really golden. I remember the first time I saw Prabhupada without a shirt on. That was the 1971 in the evening. Actually, when I joined the movement. And it was golden. He was glowing. Prabhupada was glowing. So now Shaimananda had a golden complexion, and Jiva Goswami, and Tilak. And Jiva Goswami asked him, where'd you get that Tilak from? Where'd you get that complexion from? And Shaimananda answered, by your mercy. And he told him the story. Jiva Goswami saw the spade, the shovel, and Jiva Goswami said, I am your property. And he said, you should explain this to everyone as the mercy of your guru, Hridaya Chaitanya. Okay. So basically, there was a lot of rumor mongering at that time. There wasn't Facebook. But still, people like to talk about rumors. You see what happened to this Duki Krishnadas? He's calling himself Shimananda now. Ah, this means reinitiation. This Jiva Goswami, he appears to be a great Vaishnava, but he's reinitiating people's disciples. And so they were criticizing even Jiva Goswami. And so when Hridaya Chaitanya heard about this, he sent his devotees, other disciples, to Braj to find out what's really happening. And so they approached Shimananda. And first Jiva Goswami explained he was given this name and tilak in a dream by his guru, Hridaya Chaitanya. Shimananda said, yeah, it's true. I mean, he was told to say this by Jiva Goswami. And then the devotees went back to Bengal. What can we do? He's having dreams. And Hridaya Chaitanya said, when he heard this, there was no dream. Sometimes devotees have these dreams that are just extremely weird. The guru comes to them and says, oh, my dear disciple, I would like you to go to Timbuktu to preach. That's a pretty good idea anyway. And so he says, it's my guru's order. But the guru, especially Srila Prabhupada, has been very explicit as to what he wants his devotees, disciples, grand disciples to do. And Hridaya Chaitanya said, dreams should not be taken seriously. So then he decided to go, I got to go personally take care of this rascal. So he went to his disciple, who is your guru? And Shivananda replied, you are Guru Maharaj, and the name of the tilak is Your Mercy Guru Maharaj. I can imagine how I would feel. I go to disciple, disciple somewhere else in the world, come back, and he's wearing a strange tilak. And he's taking a different name. I would act in the same way. I would be really angry. And Hridaya Chaitanya got really angry and said, I'm going to wipe it off, all the tilak. And if it remains, then we understand it is real. So Shimananda chanted his mantra and entered into a spiritual body, or he had not entered. He realized his spiritual body. Actually, entered is a different thing. Well, you don't enter into your spiritual body. Then there would be duality. You'd be different, isn't it? You'd be different from your spiritual body. In the spiritual world, there's no duality. You are the same as your emotions, your body, your mind, your soul. It's all non-different. Can't say entered. Otherwise, it would just like when you go back to God and they have a whole bunch of spiritual bodies hanging up there in the closet. And you just pick the one, hey, does that fit me? Does that gopi body fit me? Does that cow body fit me? And then, it doesn't even make sense. So he went into in his manifesting, not in, it's a bad expression, but as himself in the spiritual world, which he already was himself, he entered into Radharani's temple in the outskirts of it, and he began to cry outside the temple. And his ontological position is Kanika Manjari, one of the Manjari gopis. I mean, serving in a very intimate way Radha Krishna in a pre-pubescent form. And she was crying. She said to the other gopis, my husband is beating me. So Lalita Devi was inside making betel nuts for Srimati Radharani. And she was given the message to bring Kanika Manjari inside. So, I mean, this is at least the way the biography reads. The Lita was doing that service, and Rupa Manjari was massaging the legs, and Champakalata was fanning. And he explained, or she at this particular juncture, explained the story. Radharani was speaking to Subal at that point, who is Gauridas Pandit, the grand spiritual master of Shaivananda. It's interesting, all these different personalities involved. And Subal painted the name Shaivananda on the chest and tilak on the forehead. And Radharani ordered him, when this whole mess is over, she told him, you go preach in Orissa with Rasika Murari. So in the meantime, all the Mahantas, that means the great souls who came with Hridaya Chaitanya, were crying. They didn't understand what was happening. And so Shaivananda came out of his trance, and he explained Subal's mercy to him, and there was an attempt to rub off the tilak, and it kept reappearing. And so the Guru said, oh, that's bad. All he could say is, what am I going to do about this? So he still was upset. So he's probably thinking that Shaivananda was performing some, mystical things. Magicians could do stuff like that, too. So he was still upset with his disciple. And he came back a few days later, the real problem is you're in the wrong bhav. Your guru is a coward boy. And you are acting like a Manjari gopi. You're unchaste your guru. Of course, philosophically, it's not correct. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that according to whatever bhav or ras you have in the spiritual world, you actually perceive your guru as assisting you in that particular ras. So, but the guru has a particular ras of his own. And one shouldn't try to guess the guru's bhav, unless the guru like Gauridas Pandit or Hridaya Chaitanya tells you what his bhav is. This is very unusual, because these are great devotees. So, thinking like that, he took a stick out and started beating his disciple. Nice Guru Maharaj, right? Actually said several things get better with beatings, and one of them is disciples. Prabhupada actually said, he was talking to my godbrother, who had designed the temple in Vrindavan and also Mumbai. And he was chastising him for everything. And the other devotees later on said, but he's done a good job. And Prabhupada said, but it's the Guru's business to chastise the disciple. So, anyway, I have to learn that business a little better. So, anyway, so he beat his disciple with a stick. And that night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in a dream before Hridaya Chaitanya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was bloody. And he said, you have done this to me. And I guess Hridaya Chaitanya got the message at that point. So then he went to his disciple, Lord Chaitanya forgave Hridaya Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya said to him, here's a penalty. You should perform 12 festivals all over Bengal, and that way you'll be forgiven. So in other words, there has to be some process of repentance, restoration. That's called restorative justice, in case you don't know. Restorative justice means you give them some particular act to do to restore themselves to the proper consciousness. Someone's done something wrong. It's not simply they say, I'm sorry, but you got to give them, some repentance, some purification process like that. So he did 12 festivals all over Bengal. Jiva Goswami later ordered Shaimananda to Bengal. He went with Srinivasacharya and Narottama Das Thakur, bringing the books to Bengal. And when the books were stolen by King Veeraham, then Shaimananda actually went to Orissa to preach Krishna consciousness. And in Orissa, he met his most famous disciple, Rasik Ananda. And together they preached everywhere, all over Orissa, particularly in Jagannath Puri. So that's the story of Shyamananda. So any questions or comments? It's only 5 minutes left for class. Well, he dismissed dreams by everyone else other than himself, which is actually interesting. Or dismissed dreams when the dream disagreed with him. So selective interpretation of dreams. So anyway, another thing I want to mention was, we're talking about Orissa and preaching in Orissa. Recently, we had Snati Yatra, right? We had Snati Yatra. It was a Snati Yatra day. And interesting that you have this whole propaganda by people in Jagannath Puri who refuse to accept that we can have Rath Yatra on different days of the year. And so, and they've written letters and taken us to court and everything like that. So the right response to them should be, we respect your traditions there, such as the tradition of not allowing any of us Malechas in the temple. That's also a tradition. If they try to apply all the traditions, us Malechas, or people coming from Malecha background, would not be allowed to even worship Lord Jagannath in the Western world. So we accept that's your tradition in Jagannath Puri. In fact, they are so discriminating against Western people, they will even discriminate against Indians who are part of ISKCON. And even they discriminate against members of the Gaudiya Math who have nothing to do with ISKCON. Just because, Hare Krishna devotees. And don't let us in the temple. So we respect your traditions. You can have your traditions. And we're just asking you to respect our tradition, too. Our Malecha fallen condition in the Western world. So let's have mutual respect. That's how we should approach the whole thing. We have our tradition. Prabhupada made a tradition, right? And so we're followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, all right, so any questions or comments? Yes? Yeah, that's right. It's like a contradiction. Because, first of all, according to their tradition, we're not worshiping Lord Jagannath because they have this whole story about how they take Lord Jagannath's heart out. So there's only one bona fide Lord Jagannath according to them. You understand? When they, I'm not going to get into the whole detail, but when they, Anava Kalevaram, which means when they change the bodies of Lord Jagannath, is it 11 or 12 years, they actually have the heart, and they take it out, and they put it in a new deity. And there's this whole story that was Krishna's heart, and Krishna left his heart when he left the planet. So therefore, if we don't have the heart, then we're just imitating. So then why bother us? If you really get into the rituals, you'll find so many contradictions there. And so just leave us alone. leave us malechas alone, you know. Isn't it? We respect your tradition. God bless you. You know, you're great devotees, whatever. But respect the malecha. Just like the original deity before he was Lord Jagannath was what? Nila Madhava. And he was worshipped by pig eaters. Am I right? True. So, you know, and actually a lot of the descendants of the pig eaters are actually the ones who, I think were the cooks or the ones who carry the deity. Yeah, they carry the deity. What? Yeah, well, it's material, but I'm pointing out contradictions in their conception. So many contradictions. Of course, we don't criticize, which I just did. But anyway, I criticize philosophically, not their devotion. Great devotees.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Aravindanalayataksam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasai Bhuttalai Srimate Bhaktivedanta Ramaniti Ramane. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vachar, Nege Nivesesha, Shunyavare, Pasyacha Jasatare. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siddhartha Gadada Sivasari Gauratinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siddhartha Gadada Sivasari Gauratinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Goloka Nana Goloka Nana Radhe. Jaya Radhe 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 Jaya Radhe. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Om.
Chaitodarpanam Arjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyakairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Harmi Jayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smarane Nakala Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishameva Vambudao Kripayatava Bada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashimva Chintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Vadanam Gad Garudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamaha Shati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmahatakarotuva Yatatadava Vidadatulam Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally.
So Santosh stressed the deities, and Santosh has given his whole life and soul to Radha Golokananda. So, actually he's becoming, there's a name, Archana Siddhi. I know that's the name of a devotee, but it means one who receives perfection by doing Archana. So especially the Tulsi Devi, serving Krishna's dearest devotee, Tulsi Devi, and of course Radharani and Krishna. So, and you can see that they are pleased with him, pleased with a humble soul. Unlike some of people like myself who are very proud, puffed up, arrogant with their position, but he's serving, not asking any respect. Shanadapi Sanucheta. Anyway, pray that I can have the same humility. So, just another